Steelers Nation, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel where we keep it black and gold 24/7. As always, we're here bringing you the most exclusive and honest updates straight out of Latrobe. The 2025 season is knocking at the door, and the Steelers are locked in, working harder than ever to sharpen every part of their game, especially on defense. Now, before we dive into today's deep and important story, do me a quick favor. Smash that like button if you bleed black and gold, and hit subscribe if you haven't already. We're growing fast, and your support keeps us rolling like a TJ Watt sack on 3rd and long. All right, let's get into it. So, here's the scoop. Massive changes are coming on defense, and they're not just rumors. These are changes confirmed by none other than Alex Highsmith himself. That's right, the Steelers' star outside linebacker made it clear during his arrival in Latrobe. The defense is about to look different in 2025. And honestly, it's about time. The Pittsburgh Steelers are about to have the highest paid defense in the entire NFL for the 4th consecutive year. But if we're being real, that investment didn't fully pay off in 2024. The unit crumbled late in the season, and the organization, from coaches to players, is determined not to let history repeat itself. So what's changing? According to Highsmith and inside sources, nothing is off the table. Expect to see more unpredictability. Expect creative blitzes. Expect guys to line up in places you haven't seen before. TJ Watt and Highsmith switching sides, lining up inside, all possible. Let's take a step back and talk about the man himself, TJ Watt. The 2024 season started hot. We're talking Defensive Player of the Year, frontrunner type of heat, but then things cooled down drastically. Watt didn't record a sack in the final 4 games of the season. For games? Now, part of that was due to a nagging ankle injury from Week 14. Sure. But another part, opposing offenses started figuring out Pittsburgh's pass rush. They knew where Watt would line up. They adjusted, and they neutralized him, something we never thought we'd see. For a guy who became the first player in NFL history to lead the league in sacks 3 separate times, that kind of cold streak is unacceptable. And trust me, Watt knows it. So do the coaches. So do the fans. So what's the solution? Highsmith says they're ready to move, line up differently, flip sides, mix things up. And here's the key. Pittsburgh has depth now, with guys like Nick Herbig and rookie Jack Sawyer in the mix. There's the possibility of putting all 4 edge rushers on the field in obvious passing situations. Imagine that chaos. For Bulldogs coming off the leash at once, that's the kind of madness that makes offensive coordinators lose sleep. This year's training camp is going to be intense. Folks, the defense is being pushed out of its comfort zone. Players are being asked to do more, and coaches are putting heavy emphasis on creativity and unpredictability. Why? Because they know what's at stake. In today's NFL, if you're predictable, you're toast, especially when you're in the AFC, dealing with elite quarterbacks week after week. So, expect the Steelers' defense to become more versatile zone. Blitzes, twist, stunts, delayed pressures, disguised coverages, all that's being worked on right now in Latrobe, and best believe, Watt is motivated. Between the cold finish last year and the recent contract dispute he just resolved, the guy has a chip the size of the steel curtain on his shoulder. He's coming for that 4th sack title, and if he stays healthy, I wouldn't bet against him. But hey, it's not all sunshine in Latrobe right now. The Steelers' offensive line, the group that's supposed to take a big leap this year, has already taken a hit. Veteran left guard Isaac Sumalo is starting camp on the non-football injury list due to a soft tissue injury. Head coach Mike Tomlin confirmed it during his press conference on Wednesday. Now, before anyone hits the panic button, this isn't a season-ending thing. Sumalo is still on the active roster, and he can be elevated anytime. But let's be real. Soft tissue injuries are tricky. One wrong move, and recovery time can stretch longer than expected. And with Sumalo on the sideline, Spencer Anderson is stepping in at left guard for now. Anderson is entering his 3rd year with the team and has been a reliable depth piece, but he's no Sumalo. His development in these early camp reps will be critical. The good news? This team is built better than it was a year ago. The O-line room is deeper. The defense is more experienced. And the coaching staff seems more open to innovation than they have in years. That's how you build a championship. Contender in today's league: depth, flexibility, accountability. Now, it's just a matter of execution. So here's what just hit the airwaves, and it's shaking up the way fans are viewing one of the most controversial trades of the last decade. The Steelers have now traded away a top wide receiver in back-to-back off-seasons. Last year, it was Deontay Johnson heading to Carolina. This year, it was George Pickens, the ultra-talented highlight reel machine, whose departure left fans stunned and asking why. Well, now we're getting some answers. On ESPN's Get Up, analyst Louis Riddick dropped a bombshell. He shared a private moment from a behind-the-scenes production meeting, a conversation that had never seen the light of day, until now. Riddick recalled how Steelers head coach Mike Tomlin sharply defended his coaching approach when Dan Orlovsky asked why Pickens wasn't being more harshly disciplined during the 2024 season. Let me read you exactly what Riddick said on air. I sat in a TV production meeting where Mike Tomlin chastised Dan Orlovsky for asking about George Pickens and why George Pickens wasn't maybe being reprimanded a little bit harsher, Riddick recalled. Mike, in no uncertain terms, said, "Look, you don't give up on talent like this at this point. Let that sink in." Mike Tomlin, a coach known for being intense, focused, and no-nonsense, felt strongly enough about Pickens' talent that he went out of his way to defend his coaching choices behind closed doors. That means he knew there were issues, but he also knew what kind of game-changing player Pickens could be. That also tells us something else. The coaching staff wasn't ignoring Pickens' off-field issues or maturity struggles. They were managing them strategically. But, like many calculated bets in the NFL, not all of them pay off. Here's the thing. Tomlin didn't go soft on Pickens because he was scared of confrontation or because he thought Pickens was above the rules. It was the opposite. Tomlin genuinely believed that coaching has to be tailored to the individual. What works for one player doesn't always work for another. And when it came to George Pickens, Tomlin chose patience over punishment. He believed Pickens would grow, that maturity would come with time, that the flashes of brilliance on the field would eventually be matched by consistency and professionalism. Off it. But according to Riddick and others now close to the situation, that growth just didn't happen fast enough. We were all like, "Whoa," Riddick said, describing how shocked the ESPN crew was at Tomlin's blunt response. Mike was not playing around. He was like, "Y'all know how this business works." Now that quote tells you everything. Tomlin wasn't emotional, he was clear, strategic, and decisive. And here we are. Pickens is gone. The Steelers pulled the trigger on a bold move, trading away a young star with sky-high potential in exchange for something they clearly valued more at this stage: stability. Enter DK Metcalf. The moment Pittsburgh acquired Metcalf, the message was loud and clear. The team is going in a different direction. One where talent and maturity both matter equally. One where leadership and accountability take priority in the wide receiver room. It's not that Pickens wasn't good enough. It's that the Steelers didn't believe they had the time to keep waiting on him to get it. And let's be real. Steelers fans, it's starting to make sense, right? We saw the body language, the outbursts, the social media behavior. And while the team kept a tight lid on things publicly, the signs were there that something wasn't right. This ESPN story confirms what many fans were sensing. Tomlin tried, and tried hard, to make it work. But in the end, you can only give someone so many chances. This also reinforces just how much control Tomlin has behind the scenes. He chooses how to coach each guy. And if someone isn't responding, he knows when it's time to move on. So even though it hurts to see a player as electrifying as Pickens walk out the door, it's becoming harder to argue with the decision. All right, Steelers Nation, now it's your turn. What do you want to see the defense do differently this year? Should Watt and Highsmith switch sides? Should we see more of Herbig and Sawyer on third downs? Is this the season we finally see a truly dominant Pittsburgh defense from start to finish? And what about Sumalo's injury? Is that a concern for you? Or are you confident Anderson and the O-line will hold things down until he's back? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single one, and I'll be responding to some of the best takes in the next video. And once again, if you love Steelers football, if you're fired up for this defense to make some noise in 2025, hit that LIKE button. It helps the channel more than you know. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a breaking story. We've got training camp coverage, game previews, player interviews, and everything you need to stay in the know. Until next time, stay proud, stay loud, And as always, here we go, Steelers, here we go.